Hello, hello, hello. My name is Jamika. I am the executive director of the Hummingbird Project, and I am joining you to tell you about an amazing event that we have coming up on June 14th, starting at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time virtually. And that is a conversation on human trafficking and race. And I thought it was important that I share with you all uh, the significance of this conversation for me as the executive director. And it didn't come as um, in a way that I thought it would. And I think that that might be the same sentiment for many of you. And so the conversation that we are having on June 14th, it is slated toward Black leaders of Christian churches or places of faith. And that is those who identify as being a part of the African diaspora or being a historically Black church or having a predominant membership in their congregations of those who identify as Black or African of African descent. So one might say, why? Why are we having this specific conversation tailored toward this specific group of people? For one, I think that's an amazing question. And it came up for me as one who identifies as being a part of the African diaspora, that when I would see numbers, staggering numbers, nationally and locally, of disproportionate numbers of Black people being trafficked and even sexually assaulted in communities, but then the service provisions and those who actually obtain services being minimal, that was alarming to me because I felt there's a bridge that's needed. So it does the numbers weren't matching what was actually happening on the larger scale, but then also those being served for healing. And so with those type of disparities, I thought it's time to have a conversation that's culturally competent, that is a place and space where we can feel safe to converse with one another and to put things into context. Oh, that's why I'm targeting the Black church at this time, just to have conversations to create safe spaces for us. Um, the other question that has come up for me as well is, well, why am I doing work in the human trafficking field? Now, I am a believer in Jesus Christ. I am a minister called and appointed by Him. And so that is who I am. But I didn't understand that there was a work that was going to be required of me, of my life. And so about 10 years ago, I was not in this field. I was not in this work. I was doing my own profession. I have a affordable housing executive level profession of 20 years, and I was doing that work while I was maneuvering my own walking out my soul salvation, right? Understanding who is this God that has just called me and what is it that He has designed for me to do. And so I went to a conference, a national conference down in Atlanta, and while I was there for myself, while I was there to go through a process of healing and understanding and gaining wisdom for myself, there's a woman that came up and she began to talk about human trafficking. Now, I have to admit, my first response and reaction was, why are we talking about this at this Christian conference? I thought we were here to worship, to dance, to celebrate, but there was something that I didn't know and I was about to be made aware of. And the more she began to share on the realities of human trafficking, sex trafficking, labor trafficking, in the United States, the more my heart began to break and to yearn for more information. And I remember having this transformation happening for me that I couldn't shake in that environment. That literally for me, I was having an encounter with God. And God gave me a message that I have shared with the world, that He called me and commissioned me to Isaiah 61. And so in that work, I began to, or with that word, I began to try to get understanding of what that meant in the practical day to day. What is it that I'm to do? And my first assignment was to go learn about trafficking and go learn about what was happening in my own community, in my own state, which is in Connecticut. And so that's what I did. And that's where we're landed right now. We are continuing to do the work. And so I want to share more of my experiences, more of the experiences that have happened and others that will be on the platform. You'll see in the flyer We have experts, lived experience experts. We have experts that have been working in the anti trafficking movement that will be leading us in this conversation. But your voice is just as important. Your presence is just as important. So, why you? Why you leaders? Or if you even appoint someone else to come and obtain the information, because I have to share with you, it's not if it happens or if there's a service or support that's going to be needed in the church, it's going to be when, because the church, truthfully, is still a pillar in the Black community at large. And so, how can you make an impact? By being informed, by having viable resources, and by having connections and collaborations with those who are doing the work. All right. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope to see you there. Please, please register. You can register on our website at the hummingbirdprojectct.com/events. Again, that is the hummingbirdprojectct.com/events. And I hope to see you there. It is a free virtual training. Come and join us. Take care.